can't, I smile. I don't smile. And Clint, smile, Clint, smile. So you know what happens? You start smiling. And you know what people start saying? What are you smiling for? Can't even smile. You smile, people are like, why are you smiling? How dare you walk around and just be in a decent mood? But then you don't smile. It's like, geez, you walk around like you got a problem with something. It's like, yeah, I got a problem with the fact that I can't even fucking operate in peace. I can't even not smile in peace. Can a man just not smile? It feels like, yeah. Can a man just be his true self without being chastised and bitched at? Well, I don't know if being bitched that's the right word. But it just seems like in my daily life now, whether it's in different vicinities in my life, I'll just say, and it's just like I can't even smile without being questioned. A man can't even be happy without being questioned. A man can't even be just without being questioned. To smile or not to smile. I don't know. Either way, you're going to be questioned. Man, it really sucks being a guy these days. Could you imagine if I just went up to a woman who was not smiling and be like, come on, just smile. Just smile. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know how your day's been. Just smile. Make everyone else more comfortable because you not smiling sets a weird mood and tone. Oh no, you be insensitive. You know why? Because it is insensitive. Maybe ask like, hey, you okay? That's a more appropriate thing. And the person be like, yeah, I'm okay. Be like, okay. That's all you need to know. If I tell you I'm okay, I'm okay. Jesus, I do anything to make you smile, bitch. I need to stop saying that word. Been getting myself in a lot of trouble. Oh, but yeah, it just seems like that. I'm pretty sure everyone relates. Like, there's that one thing that you feel like you get picked out. Like only you get questioned for certain things. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone has a thing that we're like, I feel like anywhere I go, it's a common thing. Only I get questioned whether I'm smiling or not. Maybe it's because, being a pretty guy. People are like, oh, I wish he would show his smile more because he has a good smile. Because, maybe someone who's not pretty, maybe they're not, no one cares if you smile. So maybe I need to take advantage of my pretty privilege, and that's why. It's like, you know what, you're too pretty to not smile. I don't know what it is. I'm just coming up with theories here. Jesus. But yeah, you know what always makes you smile? Me talking about me. Welcome to episode 175 of the Off and Beat podcast with Clint Nelson. Jesus Christ. 175. 25 away and we'll be at the big 200. Maybe we'll hit 200 by the end of the year. I don't know, at this rate, it'll probably be 200 by like March. No, in March of the Penguins, because boy, I'm moving these hips side to side and sliding on ice. Really thin ice, actually. And it's melting as I am talking. Because I'm bringing the heat, all right. Because it seems like people are hot and bothered. Welcome to episode 175 of the Off and Beat podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Recording this on October 13th. Don't worry, it's not a Friday. A Thursday, October 13th, 2022 at 12:52 a.m. Eastern. Yeah. Actually, I'm in a pretty good mood now. I'm in a pretty good mood. Always the post-shower. Some people have post-nut clarity. I have post-shower clarity. Something about just getting my hair wet. Something about just smelling like Old Spice just gets the boy spicy. Jesus. I am a spicy ranch. A little zest to your life. I'll put a little zest on your face if you get what I'm saying. I'm talking about the Bar of Soap brand, you nasty fucks. But yeah, I guess when push comes to shove, charge Devante Adams with assault. That dude is such a bitch. Not Devante Adams, the dude that's suing Devante Adams. Like, look, I understand. Like, I saw it. Should Devante Adams have pushed him? No, there's no excuse for technically doing what he did. But at the same time, we like, this is the real problem in my opinion with like what's really become of the judicial system. It seems like, and obviously Devante Adams is gonna be a target. He makes a lot of fucking money, big contract and all that stuff. So as someone who makes that type of, you got to be aware of everything you do. Someone's gonna try to take advantage of a wrong thing you do, right? But the real problem is the fact that it seems like we live in a world where people are trying to find reasons to sue people, and we're placing labels and stuff that's not, like, when I think of assault, I don't think of someone pushing someone down once on grass. When I think of assault, I think of someone curb stomping someone's fucking face. Like, I'm sorry, like, I think of actual, like, hands being thrown. I think of actual someone getting assaulted, like someone getting beaten. And I'm not going to, like, I don't want to make this about the pussification of men type of thing. But this is definitely like it feels more like this dude wasn't really, like, probably going to sue someone. But anytime these situations happen with a celebrity or athlete and stuff is made public, it felt like lawyers started hitting this guy up and starting to be like, hey, you can get a lot of money out of this, and all, this could be life changing, and all this stuff, like, and like the fact that we're spending time on cases for something of a push when there's actual real situations of murder, rape, of people's families dying, and trying to solve this case, trying to solve sex trafficking, trying to solve even mass drugs and mass drug dealing type of stuff, and we're in firearms, like gang affiliations that could cause like real problems in communities, and we're worried about a football player pushing a cameraman in a controlled stadium environment where everyone saw what happened, and there's not really much that should be dealt with it. Other than, fine Devante Adams, maybe, he apologized for it, not that makes it right, but, maybe give the guy, like, free tickets and shit. And honestly, he was kind of in the way. Still not an excuse. I get it, he was just doing his job. But I would feel like when you get into that field of work, that that's a risk. Like, I would watch a highlight of a game. I forgot which game it was. Like, I watched the highlights on Sunday night when I get home and shit. And, like, a receiver caught a ball and he was running full speed out of bounds, and he just ran into this camera guy. The same dude that got pushed or whatever directly by Devante Adams. It was a guy doing the same job on the sideline with the same big fucking satellite boom mic camera shit. And that dude got rammed. He looked like a dude probably like in his 50s that should not be taking a hit like that. And I'm pretty sure when he signed up for that job, he knew that's going to happen a lot. And it's going to happen. Right? And so, I would rather a football player just push me down than to be ran in at fucking full speed, where you're not even paying attention, and it's like, boom. But, like, this is to me, this reeks of just someone fishing to sue someone. And I don't even want to become a conspiracy theorist type of thing. But I honestly think a lot of people nowadays, when they go to events, they are trying, especially with athletes and anyone that has any crazy means amount of money that everyone knows they make a lot of money. They are trying to catch people in vulnerable positions of emotion that take advantage to just capitalize on that, and then use the court system for these terms that don't really apply to what took place. You got pushed. Be a little bitch about it. Like, if I was a judge and I'm going through these 40 cases of nothingness, these civil cases are just like, Jesus, like, I'm really just sitting here listening to people complain about because they have their fence a couple feet higher than they would like. Like, why do you even want to look over in their, like, why do you even want to look what's going on in their house? Oh, their fence is too high and they do something suspicious. It's like, well, you shouldn't be looking over the fence anyways. Fuck your HOA regulations. All right? But, like, if I was a judge and I'm like, all right, let's see. So I'm literally hearing you complain about because you got pushed down at a football game. Your job is to record a violent sport that causes concussions, causes people to fracture their legs in half, and you got pushed down, and you're calling that assault? Like, it's not like you were just walking the street and someone just shoved you just because. Not like someone shoved you down the stairs while you weren't looking. Like, you got shoved at a football stadium. Like, the environment makes sense for why that would happen. Your job description says, yeah, that will happen. If you work in a warehouse, like, chances are, some point in time, shit's gonna fall on your foot. It's gonna happen. You know, you work at a restaurant. Like, you're gonna spill drinks. It's gonna happen. You're gonna fuck up food. You're gonna drop food in the kitchen. It's gonna happen. Like, there's just things when you work at jobs, like, there's risk of what's gonna happen. If you're frying food, you're probably the grease is probably gonna burn your hand once in a while. It's probably gonna splash in your face. It's gonna happen. Honestly, I think the case should be dismissed. It shouldn't even be a thing. If I was a judge, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here with this shit. This is just a waste of time. Because this dude does not feel like he got assaulted. He is literally just taking advantage of these societal standards we've created. And is taking advantage of the judicial system for a personal gain that has nothing to do with actually, like, it didn't impact your life. Because you can go to work next week. This isn't a situation where, oh, we pushed him down and, like, he can't work for 4 months. So he needs to be compensated so he can, you know, live and shit. That's one thing. This dude's like, oh, I got a slight headache. It's like, you should be lucky you only got a slight headache. All right? I just hate seeing this shit where people are just, it's like the people, it's like these, like, women that are now, this is a real thing where women are suing men for taking them out on bad dates. And they are suing them for like $5,000 to $10,000. And their rationale, in some cases, would be like, I had to get a babysitter. It's like, all right, fine. You got a babysitter. What is that, like $60 for 2 hours? Whatever. Let's just say $100. Round it up. Whatever the fuck. How does that warrant $5,000? And because it's so subjective of what's a bad date. And they'll be like, oh, the date went terrible. It's my time and all this stuff. It's like, I hate to break to you. Your 3 hours of your time is not worth $5,000 or $10,000. But this is the type of shit that we've set up with, you know, just kind of how law is and the lawyers' influence in court. And especially social media now, where you could just sue over anything. And they can find a way to make a case. And that's the worst part. A good lawyer in these days and times is someone that can fight for absolutely nothing. Unfortunately. Because they can convince you that anything is a problem. And you know why? Because that's their job. It's like a therapist is going to tell you, you still have problems, so you keep coming back. Because what they tell, actually, all your problems are healed. It's like, great, I don't need to see you anymore. It's like, hey, your health insurance still got a couple extra months, We're going to get the full benefits here. But yeah, like, it's this weird thing of like people, we over exaggerate how traumatic or something. Like a bad date is worth $5,000 to $10,000. Like just say that out loud. Like honestly, say that out loud. Wasted my time with the date, and I deserve $7,000 for a bad date because it didn't go well or wasn't what I thought it would be. And then we wonder why men don't approach women. Then we wonder why this shit is like, it's like, I got to worry about if I take a girl out to TGI Fridays and let's just say she thought I was taking her to a bocce. It's like, I don't have a bocce money, but hey, it's all you can eat boneless wings, baby. Even though they're going to take forever to bring out each time you reorder because, they're trying to make sure your stomach settles in. And they only bring out like 7 fucking little boneless chicken bites. Like fucking bring out 10 if you're going to make me wait 15 minutes in between each time I reorder. And what's worse is waiting for these reorders at these all-you-can-eat places where they have to cook the all-you-can-eat stuff as you ask for it. Maybe I should just take her to a bocce. Cook it right there. Is that when they take longer to refill your fucking drinks in between. Like, what happened? Like, I don't know why these restaurants don't carry pitchers anymore. Like, sweet tea and water, just carry it in pitchers. You don't need a fucking tea canister in the back area. Just fucking put it in the pitchers. Tea always tastes better when it's in a pitcher. It just does. Go to any Mexican restaurant. Sweet tea never has failed at a Mexican restaurant. Well, at least an American Mexican restaurant, because it's not really Mexican. But you know what? For the sake of argument, it's Mexican. All right? Sweet tea is always sweet. It's the sweet stuff. But now I got to worry about if I take a girl to a place and, it was technically below her standards, or I bored her to death because she just wanted a free meal anyways, which is fine. I'm not like, I get it. I get the game. But now I got to worry about, as a broke boy Enterprises here, BBE, big booty, electromatic, supersonic, hypnotic, funky, fresh, baby. Now I got to worry about, it's literally risk. Now I got to worry about if I take a girl out to dinner, is this going to cost me $10,000 3 months from now? Is that really something I have to worry about? Honestly. Because every little thing, it's like people are like so sensitive. Oh, someone touched me. That's assault. Oh, someone's invading my space. They're stalking me. It's like, I'm literally waiting for you at self-checkout to scan your fucking peppers. Either look up the PLU number or fucking click the search the item button, and it tells you vegetables, peppers, fruits, this, that, potatoes. Pick the fucking wherever the peppers are. Push the quantity and go. It's fucking 10:40 at night. Who buys peppers 10:40 at night? Like, I'm not buying any produce past like 5 o'clock. Like, they don't restock that shit. They're not pre-washing, re-washing, making sure the mist shit goes off. Like, fucking get your peppers. Add a little pep to your step, all right? Maybe that's why they're getting the peppers. Red hot chili. And these bars are getting chilly. Yeah. Now I gotta worry if I take a girl to Chili's. Is this a $42 date before tip? Is this gonna cost me $10K? I don't know. And what quantifies a bad date? Like, I don't know. I'm not a dating expert. Like, I've been on some dates in my lifetime. I'm not a ladies man, but I'm a ladies man. I don't like, it's so like with Lily, you could have the same conversation with two different people and have two completely different lookouts of outcome of how they perceive and how you perceive that date. It's so much is dependent on like the time in your life, the place, the time of day, your mood that day. You know, things are on your mind. Sometimes stress. Like, sometimes people want to go on dates and, you know, just have small talk. It doesn't even matter what you talk about. They just want to smile and relax. And sometimes people want to actually look in your eyes and really listen to what you're saying and actually digest what you're saying. And depending on who you are, like, depending on, I don't know how this is going to go. But, like, that's the thing. Like, it shouldn't even be, like, it should not even be able to file a lawsuit because of a bad date. It should not even be to file a lawsuit because someone pushed you in that manner. And that's it. Like everyone saw. It's like the NFL should find Devante Adams, you know, and maybe like give the guy free tickets, even though he works for a media company. So he already gets fucking free access to everything. Like, I don't know what more he wants to see. But you could tell, like, it wasn't anything that personal. It was just frustration, right? But I just don't like the fact that people want to capitalize all the time on this shit. Like, come on. And to be honest, I think it's really the pussification of men. I know I said I wouldn't talk about it, but fuck it. Like, just because you can capitalize on something doesn't mean you should. Because I think your character stands on what... I think your character really stands on... Just because you can do something, that doesn't mean you should. You can do a lot of things that you shouldn't. But you decide not to. Because it's like, you know, not even self-discipline. It's just like, you know what? This isn't necessary. You can assess something and be like, you know what? You can say forgiveness. It's not even that deep. But it's really just, this situation doesn't fit the crime of what I could do. So you treat the crime appropriately for whatever it is. And be like, hey, you know what? I don't like what took place. I'm sure he didn't mean it. We could talk about, hash it out. It ain't that serious. Like, but pussification men always feel like they're entitled to something. And that dude, honestly, I feel like he's a pussy because he feels like he's entitled to something just because someone pushed him. So he's entitled to a percentage or incentivized just because of what that person's net worth is or what that person can offer. And even if he didn't make that type of money, and even if they made the same amount of money, just because someone, you're not entitled to their money. Like, I don't understand like why money is like the only thing that could be exchanged in lawsuits. I understand it's the only thing tangible and all that stuff. But I just think that money for situations that don't really have anything to do with money should not be the real incentive here. And also, the craziest part is Devante Adams, if this stuff goes through, which I don't know how, I I don't know how when it goes through the system. I don't know how, if it gets to a jury. Imagine you're a fucking jury and you have to spend 3 weeks of your life digesting a push. Imagine that. For your $80 a day jury duty because, you're just doing your civil duty. No wonder why people don't want to fucking do jury duty, because a lot of it is this bullshit. But just imagine. He could serve 6 months in prison or in jail for that. Think about that. It's insanity. I don't know. But yeah. It really sucks being awkward, though. I gotta tell you, man. You know, being awkward. I know I've talked about being awkward before, but I'm gonna speak for the awkward fellas and ladies out there, I guess. Being awkward, being socially awkward specifically, because I'm not an awkward person. I think socially, like meeting people or talking to people that I don't have a comfort level with yet, but I want to. It could either be a lady I find attractive. It could just be people in a work environment. It could be people in a gym environment, because that's where I'm at a lot. It could be just people that I see enough where, you know, whether it's places I go to regularly or grocery store or Dunkin', whatever the hell it is. The real issue with when you're socially inept in social situations, I think that's the better way of putting it, is that you put people in position, you put a lot of pressure on people in positions to kind of make themselves have no choice but to avoid you or isolate from you, because they don't know how to deal with your stuff. And I'm not one that's, they don't know how to deal with it. What I mean is they literally just don't know, like, I don't know how to respond to this shit. Like, I don't know if he's joking. I don't know if this just, that's just the number one thing I get. That's just Clint. That's Clint, all right. That's just Clint being Clint. Which is a kind of good thing, because it means you're unique. You have a very unique personality. You have a unique perspective, I guess, on some things. But being awkward, God, like, even just like the things that eat at you, like, it could be like after a situation, you're just like, you feel good, the fact that someone like wants to talk to you, but then at the same time, then afterhand, you're like, God damn it, you become this heavy overthinker. Like, fuck, did I just make this fucking person be really uncomfortable with this thing I said? It's like, oh, Jesus, Clint. And it's this thing. Look, I've openly, like, it's one of the few things I'm actually openly okay with talking about that I know is a flaw of mine, because I think this is one of those things, since it involves talking and stuff, the best way to get through things that involve talking is by talking about it, right? I don't think everything needs to be talked about if it's not related to actually talking. But this, I think, is very important. And it's my fucking podcast, so I can talk about whatever the fuck I want. That too, in case you forgot. My name, it's in the title. I'm a pretty big deal. But I'm trying to give the example without giving away, because I don't want to talk about like my personal life, like whether it's like a work environment and stuff like that. Like, I don't want to put people on my podcast that don't even know this exists. I have thought, should I tell people I have a podcast? Just be like, hey, you know, do you listen to podcasts? Be like, I don't know, I've heard of them. Be like, you want to listen to my podcast? Because then that kind of comes off as like, why is this person like out of nowhere just telling me they want me to listen to their podcast? Do they want me to secretly know what they truly think about censorship in China? It's like, it's like, no. I mean, you hear about why like the why I like brothels though. Honestly, I don't even know, like, if people at work, if they listen to my podcast, I don't even know, like, they would either be, like, quite surprised or be like, or they would just kind of, you want to talk about awkwardness at work, that would make it really awkward in some cases. Or it may be like, holy, hey, Clint actually has a lot of thoughts about things. Clint's actually, he actually has a lot on his mind. Why didn't he actually just talk about this stuff at work? I don't know. It could work either way. It's a double-edged sword. And I know where I want to put my sword. Wherever it makes you soar and fly like eagle until it soars. Okay. Not like getting a canker sore. God, those fucking suck. The ones that you get in the back of your fucking gums and your cheeks. But yeah. I just I think the frustrating part is, like, the older you get, the more you realize, oh, this isn't something I'm really gonna get out of. This is actually more of who I am, right? It's just about, how do I make it where this is palpable and where it's awkwardly digestible and not awkwardly divisionable, where you're not dividing, where you're not putting people always in positions where they don't know how to respond. And it's just it's one of those things, like, damn, like, I want to be able to just conversate with people. I want to be able to just hold a conversation, but I always feel the need to be either, like, over the top funny, or I feel the need to really stand out with something I say. I think the biggest thing I try to avoid is being casual or being boring. And honestly, sometimes there's a time and place to just be like, hey, do you listen to Candace Owens? It's like, actually, that wouldn't be boring at all, because you probably find out a lot about someone if they say yes or no to that question. But, like, it'd be like, hey, what do you enjoy? What's your hobbies? And I try to avoid those questions, because it's like, that's like the first thing everyone gets asked when they first talk to someone. And you don't want to be just another person that asks someone about their hobbies, or that asks someone, oh, what music you listen to? It's like, you know what? Like, you'll find out. If you're around me for more than a couple weeks, you will know what music I listen to. All right? I guess I always want to feel like I stand out. And maybe that's some weird insecurity from not feeling like you're interesting enough or inferior in whatever capacities. So the way is to try to avoid being like everyone else, but sometimes it's okay to just be normal. Because being normal at least lets people, like, learn you at a pace. And then you bring out the parts of yourself over time, and then fool them, and then, drag them down with you. But I think sometimes people try to do too much too early. And I think that's kind of like with me. I think that's one of my things is, most people, it's like most people don't want too much early. It's like, hey, I didn't ask about your hemorrhoid cream, Clint. Just kidding. I don't even have hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids. But yeah, I just want to be able to conversate with people. I just want to be able, like, to not have to avoid and I think that's also, like, I avoid eye contact at every cost, because in today's world, obviously, as a dude, like, you make eye contact, it could go one of two ways. A girl makes eye contact back and likes you, or even dudes in general, Or you don't want to make eye contact with the wrong person, and then they actually want to talk to you, and you didn't want to talk to them, and they go on and on because it's like, Jesus, I could have avoided this if I just stuck to the program and avoided the eye contact. And, in these days, honestly, like, you got to worry about, like, people think, like, oh, you make eye contact and smile at them. Going back to the smile thing, you might be like, why does a person smile at me? I don't know. This dude creeps me out. Like, it's all this stuff that we have to think about nowadays where we can't even be, like, free individual. We can't even, like, naturally act. Because it's natural to want to smile at someone that, you see and brings you joy in whatever form that is. But at the same time, is it worth it if you don't get that receipt back? I don't know. I think that's just something I gotta get over. And that's just kind of like my awkward issue with myself. So yeah. I'm working through it. This isn't no therapy session by any means. It's just something that I think a lot of people I know the eye contact thing, it's not even really about I think I just see like 80 to 90% of people that I see on a daily basis, like, don't even make eye contact with me. Because it could be, like, making eye contact with someone is really intimidating. Because you got to worry, because there's so many things you're thinking about. Like, you're thinking, am I staring too long? Am I staring at, should I focus on their mouth, their chin? And you start, like, focus, because you don't want to just be like, just like, with your eyes open, It's just, I don't know, it's kind of like a weird thing. But yeah. I'll tell you it was not weird, though. It actually pissed me the fuck off. Gym corner, bringing it back. This is a PSA. And, I hope the dude I hope this does come around to him. I don't give a fuck if he knows about it. Honestly, the only thing I'm pissed at, I didn't go up to him and say something in the moment. And because I don't talk to anyone at the gym really anyways, But this motherfucker, I don't even know how to start with this story. So at my gym, there's there's the dumbbell area. There's like machine area, the pull down machine, the seated row machine, the different like chains and fucking pulleys and levers and stuff. You could attach different equipment to whatever exercise you use. Then there's the other side of the building where it's more of a free range. They call it what is it called? Functional training. And I use that area actually quite a bit. I use it because that's typically where they'll have the barbells for, people will do different exercises with the barbells. They have a little barbell rack. You grab, there's only a couple. But they have like a whole, like, technically like a CrossFit bell thing area there where you can attach, you get what I'm saying. But so people have the barbells there, and they have the weight racks. They have the holders and shit. And it's a nice it's a good little setup. It has the purple floors, the purple turf, even though it hurts your fucking knees if it's just your knees on the fucking thing. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. That's why I wear undershorts. But so there's two areas, and there was two barbells available, and this dude was using both in both sections, in both areas, which is a problem within itself, right? Because you can do whatever exercises with that one barbell, and doing like the multiple exercises at the same time is actually proven to actually be kind of counterproductive. You're just wearing yourself out. And once you get past the first like 3 or 4 exercises doing that, your performance is going to dwindle down and you're not really going to get anything out of it. So focus on one at a time. Take time in between sets and rest, all that shit. Whatever. But this dude was occupying both barbells. Except he had the one barbell on the ground with 45-pound weight on each side. So like, okay. Then on the other one, he had on the rack in the squat position, so higher up on the thing. So he can, put his traps under and lift it on his back. So when he does squats, it's on his back with 45 pounds on each side. So this man had the same amount of weight on each barbell. And you will not guess what he was doing with the one that was on the ground. Well, terrible form, not critiquing his form, but the exercise he was trying to do was essentially a pull deadlift kind of thing. Except he was just slamming it on the ground, so he really had no control of it. But then the way he squatted and stuff, I'm looking the way he squats, and I'm looking the way he pulls. It's like, you're literally working the same fucking muscles. You know that, right? He's working the same muscles, the same weight on each bar. And he's hogging the whole fucking section during the middle of the day. By middle of the day, I mean like 2 o'clock. Where there's a decent amount of people there sometimes. A couple times a week, there'll be a random group of fucking people there. Makes no sense. And this man really thought he was doing some shit. And that dude's a fucking asshole. I really don't know how else to put it. He's an asshole at the gym, taking both barbells with the same weight on them. This is the note. When I saw this, because I was waiting to use one of the barbells to do my bent over row type of shit. My bent row. Shouldn't say bent over, because, if I'm bent over, that's actually bad form. But this man, I went to the bathroom because I had to piss. And I was like, maybe when I come out, he won't be occupying both of them. This is the note I wrote in the bathroom. I wrote, asshole at gym, taking both barbells with same weight on them, doing exercise that works the same body part. And yes, that is the note I wrote. Like that, I'm not verbatim. Like, look at this. It's the exact, you can't make this shit up. Cause I write notes and shit. I try to be remember shit. I write little things that I may want to talk about the podcast. And I was the second that happened, I was this fucking dude. It was the first thing I knew on my next episode what I'm going to talk about. And it brought inspiration. And this dude inspired me to want to shit on anyone who does this shit. Because it's not the first time I've seen similar stuff. I've seen people use the chest press machine and then the chest fly machine. I've seen people do the pull down machine. The wide grip pull down bar. And then they'll have the pull down machine where it's where it's literally just the machine operated one where it's internal and it's just you pull the thing down, which is supposed to be more for beginner and moderate, but it's still an effective machine. And I've seen people alternate between back and forth. It's you're doing the same exercise. It's literally just technically different equipment. You're working the same body part. And if you're using the one machine, typically what happens is people's okay, if that person's doing that, it's okay, people that are semi-advanced or just have been in the gym enough, typically what happens, because sometimes you get somewhere, someone's using a machine, and there's someone else who's going to use it after, and you're you know what, maybe I'll do another exercise today to substitute for that. So maybe it'll just be I'll just use one of the machines that's like a chest press or a tricep machine, whatever the body part you're working, instead of the actual, like the pull down bar or the rope with the tricep extension, like, you know what, I'll just do the tricep machine, or I'll do the chamber curl machine if all the dumbbells of the weight I would typically use is taken. You know, whatever the hell it is. Like, oh, if the whole, like, dumbbell area lifting section that dumbass dudes occupy, I'll just use the machines to get a similar feeling in the chest because I only have 45 minutes to get what I need done today. Whatever. Like, it's like, you know what? You substitute that for that because sometimes you may not have access to it, especially if you're at a really busy gym. So when you're one of those assholes that take the substitute to the machine that you're using that people would substitute to get their work in, you are not only inconsiderate, and before you fucking say, oh, it's a public gym, you know, you don't own it. It's like, yes, literally, you don't own it. But it's funny that those people try to be like, oh, well, you know, I have every right to use these. I have every right to use whatever machines, whatever this and that. I paid the same membership as you. It's like, yes, I paid the same membership so I could fucking occupy the work of the membership I pay. Just because you want to be an inconsiderate fuck, and because you want to get 3 workouts in a day done, because you only want to make a commitment to go once or twice a week, and think that if I just go once or twice a week but do 4 hours of work in one day, I'm going to get the same amount as someone who goes 5 times a week but does an hour a day. It's like, do the math. You can only get so much done on your body in a day. Like, your body has a potential cap of how much it can grow in a day, no matter how much you push it. There is a limit that your body actually will grow with it. Anything you do after that, you are either actually probably technically damaging your body, or you're just doing it just to do it, but you're not really strengthening at a certain point. You're just working just to work it, which I guess builds, you know, a work ethic in the gym if that's something you struggle with, but you're not actually effectively building strength at a certain point. That's why typically they're like, oh, really, if you're in the gym more than an hour, 20 hour, 30 minutes, you're probably wasting your time at a certain point if you're putting the right amount of effort in the first hour, 15 minutes, because at a certain point, you're actually just damaging or wearing down your body with no potential upside, right? So you doing these 3 to 4 hour workouts ain't doing shit. I hate to break it to you. And so when you take that away from other people who are just trying to go and get their work in for the day or whatever, and because it's a public gym, you think you can just do whatever, all that shit, it's like, no. But the thing is, the mentality of people like this is exactly what's kind of wrong with, and I think a lot of it's influenced by social media, obviously, that I don't really go on, but I'm aware the shit that goes on because, ironically, I watch YouTube videos that cover a lot of this shit. So, technically, I don't know if YouTube's technically social media, but it's basically, I guess, a form of social media. But you kind of see the obsessiveness with being seen, the obsessiveness with feeling like you're outworking people. And people always think that longer is working harder. It's really, what did you do? Did you actually do a lot in the time frame you were there? Because just because you do something for 3 hours doesn't mean you actually got 3 hours of work done. You probably could have done that shit in 2 hours. And that's being generous. Probably hour 45 minutes. And honestly, if you spaced out your program, this is why, you know, I need to be a fucking personal trainer. I think that's why I realized that my second job, side job that potentially become a main job, I should just be a personal trainer. Because you get one of these bullshit certificates. I've seen some of these bullshit people that are training people. And I'm not talking about the people that work in my gym, but sometimes there'll be private trainers that like come and they train someone that is paying them to train them. And you're just looking at the shit they're doing, and I'm like, this is doing nothing. You are just taking people's money because they don't know any better. And I'm not even an expert, but just someone who has lifted and worked out and exercised. Even if you're dealing with a beginner, the shit you're doing is not building any base so they can do the exercise that's going to actually help them gain strength and see the vanity and the aesthetic that they potentially want. You are just taking people's money, buying them hope because they don't know any better. It's no different than people that want to scam people. It's no different than, also another thing at the gym, I also noticed like on the TV, like the local channels, because obviously, look, I'm a Georgia boy. So this Herschel Walker and whoever the fuck he's running against, because no one knows who he's actually fucking running against for this Senate type of thing. It's crazy how you actually see these campaign ads. The focus on the campaigns is more about trying to dwindle down someone else instead of actually strengthening their position, which doesn't really make me view you as any better candidate. It's like, fine, let's say you did prove that, this person's not a great candidate. It's like, doesn't mean you're a good candidate. This is why I don't care. I'll always says, I don't believe every vote is that important. I don't believe if you don't even halfway believe in something that you should vote. Like, I don't believe that you should vote just to vote. I honestly don't. If you don't believe in a candidate worthy enough of your vote, you should not vote. I don't care what people say. This thing that, someone's going to get voted anyway. It's like, all right. Then, you know what? Let that person get voted and I didn't participate in it. And that's fine. Because who I put my name on the ballot for and vote for does matter to me. And I think you should hold that. Like, it's almost like you're a man of your word. It's almost like you're a person of, if you truly say you value something, then you vote for someone that doesn't really embody the values or what you would want in a candidate and whatever that position is. To me, you're going against what you say matters to you. And so that's not even about to get political. But anyways, about what I notice is it's so egregious how all the stuff about politics and candidates, you really see like the local advertisement of how they do. Like, it was on 11 Alive, or it was on it was on Fox, my bad, because it was like the Fox local news and all this shit. And literally the first commercial, right? The first commercial was, Herschel Walker basically, it was like a personal message from Herschel Walker. Like, you can see in his face, like he's doing the whole pitch thing with his hands, and it's like sponsored by Herschel Walker, basically. I should be a candidate because this. And it was like he started listing all these things that he has done or that his values and all this shit, right? You should vote for me. Approved by Herschel Walker. Then literally the next commercial is Herschel Walker beat the fuck out of his wife. His wife had to get a restraining order. He threatened, back in 2012 with the woman he was with. He threatened pull a gun out and all. It's like, And then they brought up the fact that he's not a good father. Like, Jesus, like they go to places with this stuff, and that's the thing. The focus is very little on anything that has anything to do with what are they going to do when they're in office? It's all this personal stuff and all that. And I'm not saying your personal life shouldn't be a part, because if I'm voting for you in a position of that magnitude, yeah, like, if you have a certain history, I'm probably not going to be comfortable putting you in that position. But at the same time, it's like, if the whole focus is just going to be, the opposing's whole focus is just going to be on all this stuff, it's like, then what are we really doing here? Because I know nothing about the other candidate. I don't even know the other candidate's name. And all I know is that Herschel Walker apparently beats the fuck out of women. And he's an abusive guy, apparently, allegedly. Like, that's all we know about this guy. The only thing I used to know about him is that he would do 2,000 push-ups a day, or 5,000. I don't even fucking remember. 5,000 push-ups, 5,000 sit-ups. It's like, yeah, that sounds great. I always kind of like took a, I basically always had questions about that, because he started that like in middle school when he was getting bullied and stuff. And like, it's not that 5,000 push-ups isn't possible and stuff, or 5,000 sit-ups. It's just like, I don't think people understand how much time and like endurance that fucking takes. And apparently he's never really been like a weightlifter. He's always kind of stuck to that type of regimen. He's always just stuck to the simple stuff, the push-ups, the sit-ups, the pull-ups, all that stuff. And look, he looks great. But, I don't know. Yeah, I just honestly hate. This is why I'm so turned off by politics, because you just see what it is. It has nothing to do with anything of what they're supposed to be doing or what they're going to do. They focus so much on the other person instead of focus on what they're doing. So it's like, we dwindled the other person's character and all this, and this, so we win. And then we win. It's like, oh, so what are we going to do? I don't know. I didn't get that far yet. But, so yeah, a lot of this stuff, man, it's just, that's why I'm so turned off by this shit. But yeah, I'll tell you what, if I did vote, I would rather vote for Herschel Walker than someone occupying 2 fucking stations at the gym. I can tell you that much. Like, use the same, like, the dude could have literally, here was my biggest issue. It's like, you had the same weight on each bar. You literally could just had the one bar, the one section, and someone else, if they want to, use the other bar, the other section, and you could have literally done your 3 sets of your squats or whatever the fuck you wanted to call that. And then when you were done with that, take the bar off thing, put it on the ground. You wouldn't even have to change the weight. And then you do your next 3 sets of that exercise. It's simple. But we live in this world where everything's got to be, we're doing multiple things at once. We're doing this, we're snatching, pushing, doing hip thrusts at the same time, doing sumo squats and pistol squats all in one set. It's like, the most effective thing is to focus on one exercise at a time so your body reacts, and so you're actually focused on what the fuck you're doing to make sure you're doing it right, and you're actually progressing in weight and progressing in strength if that is your goal, or at least maintaining. But no, this guy want to be inconsiderate, never progress in any fucking thing, because I've seen him. I've seen him in the gym. He's been in the gym the same amount of time I have. And I don't sit there and see if people progress or not. But if you're going to be doing all that shit, and you're going to be occupying like multiple stations, you better look like you should be occupying multiple stations. Because next time you do that shit, I'm going to slap you. I'm going to beat I'm not going to beat it. But I'm going to say something, honestly. Like, that shit, like, fucking, I let it go. I'm like, you know what? It's not that big of a deal because I'm going to use this for podcasting content. But next time, because I'm not going to talk about it again, it's not going to be podcasting content. If I talk about my podcast, it's because I choked the fuck out of you like Homer did, like Homer does his son Bart. And you're barting up the wrong tree. Oh, Lisa. Oh, Maggie. He's such a maggot. All right. I think I'm gonna get it out from under the bar. All right, and hopefully I'm not behind them like Devante Adams for assault, because I might assault this dude, and it's not gonna be a push. I guess when push comes to shove, I wanna push you around while I will. Well, I guess maybe Devante Adams listened to that song before the game, and he just couldn't get the song out of his head. And then dude goes for, I want to push you around, or I will, what I will. All right. So, yeah. That's episode 175 of the Often Be Podcast with Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but don't forget to suck some titties. And, yeah. Have a great day whenever this is posted. So, yeah. Bada beam, bada boom. Pew, pew.